Timestamp 9:30. Watch to about 10:30. Thoughts?
I thought we were...
Israeli settlers / IDF detained Rokan. Oh, shit. I bet this led to a lot of amazing discourse.
Voting for Vance? No, that's if Gavin Newsom or Kamala Harris is the candidate.
That's...
Do you think this incident might actually radicalize him somewhat? I don't think Rokan is stupid. I think Rokan is aware of the fact that Israel's always been this bad. You just have to lead the voters along the path that you're following. What he saw in the West Bank, Mr. Khanna said, convinced him the region's problems won't be solved just by replacing the Israeli leadership. One of the things that's made me realize is how hard a two-state solution is going to be in practice. It's going to require the removal of a lot of violent settlers. Mwah, love that. Yeah, we really need to give up on the two-state solution line, because like any second Palestinian state would just get destroyed by Israel immediately. We've tried this and it failed. That you need to like disempower the Nazi government. There's no way around this, you know? I appreciate the fact that Rokan is just flatly saying like these people are fucking insane and they are an obstacle to any kind of solution in the region.
Okay.
In the southern West Bank village of al-Khair, he met with the family of Auda Hathaline, a well-known Palestinian activist whose work was featured in the Oscar-winning documentary No Other Land and who was killed by an Israeli settler. On his final day, he visited a school where a 14-year-old was gunned down in broad daylight by a settler and met...
Okay, based. What do we got? 20 minutes of Vaush argues with chat over J.D. Vance versus Gavin Newsom. 2 hours ago. How could this be... Do I really want to...
Yeah. Voting JD, should Gavin Newsom be Democrats' choice? I don't know. Like we're not there yet, man. The midterms haven't even happened yet, and it's not a very interesting hypothetical until it gets crunchy, you know, until reality makes it crunchy. But like in the abstract, would I prefer a JD Vance that unambiguously wants to cut off support for Israel versus a Gavin Newsom that's eating out their ass? Yes. Yeah, I would support JD Vance, like wholeheartedly, and I would endorse everyone vote for him. Yeah. Support for Israel is support for mass death. It's not just for Gazans, but for everyone. It's support for the apocalypse. It's a demonic belief. There's very, not to suggest there's little that JD Vance could do that would match the evil and harm done right now by supporting Israel, because if anyone could figure it out, you know, JD Vance and the Republicans could. But yeah, no, I would hope all Democrats would take this as a sign that it is in fact really important for every possible obvious reason to not support Israel right now. Your constituency doesn't want you to. You're hastening our like oil claps by providing them political support. Nobody likes it. It's unpopular. It's morally wrong. It's politically wrong. There's no reason to do it. It's just like insane to keep doing it, but they keep doing it anyway. So you know, whatever. I get you're being hyperbolic. I'm not being hyperbolic. Everything that I just said was correct. But come on, what about every other issue where Vance obviously worse? My position is that a Gavin Newsom or a Democratic Party that is willing to sell out the country to Israel is one that would not defend your rights anyway. Biden won in 2020. What happened? Nothing. Nothing good happened. Did anything good happen under Biden? Nah. Maybe a couple union wins. They can't fight for it. The Republicans are but a symptom of the greater evil. The great evil is apathy.
Do you disagree with the take that settlers are a hard blocker to any whole for a two-state, or do you think there is a world where I don't know what that sentence means. That settlers are a hard blocker to any whole for a two-state. Any solution?
Hope.
Oh, hope. Yeah, you have to negotiate away probably people that are living deep in the West Bank. Yeah, that's always been the case.
And the collapse of democracy, climate collapse. Democrats aren't going to protect you from this. If they can't even withdraw support from Israel when Israel is literally suicide bombing the world right now, what do you expect them to do for the rest of your rights? In my opinion, the obvious solution here would just be for Democrats to not support the Nazi regime. But like, you know, I don't know. I'm just like a YouTuber. Not gonna lie, probably watch stupid steak. I can't do this again because we've done this 50 million times, but I need you guys to understand that we are literally weeks away from like, things are worse than you think. And supporting Israel in this environment, a Democratic Party that betrays their base, betrays America, betrays the world to support Israel for no other reason than because they're captured by special interests is not a Democratic Party that's going to save us. Not only will they not fix these problems, they will make them worse. Like so it's like, okay, let's bring it back to the 1940s. Okay. Imagine you have like, you don't have FDR or whatever. You have like a mirror of the current situation. Let's say hypothetically you have a conservative politician versus a liberal politician, but the liberal supports Nazi Germany. Okay. What I need you to understand is that, so everyone in America who normally votes liberal is like, dude, what the fuck? Why do you support Nazi Germany? It's 1941 or what, or it's 1944. Everyone's like, why is the liberal presidential candidate supporting Nazi Germany? That's weird. Why is that happening? You know, and people are weird and depressed. It's depressing voter turnout. People are like, why the fuck does it even matter? How can they be a liberal if they support them? All these problems are being caused by Nazi Germany overseas and domestically, so on and so forth. And then what you have to understand is an ostensibly liberal president that supports Nazi Germany is not actually liberal. Gavin Newsom, the guy who brought Charlie Kirk and Steve Bannon, Republican strategists, on to glaze them and tell them like they're doing a good job and cede points to them on trans rights. These people, Gavin Newsom, they're not actually liberals. Gavin Newsom ran as one because he was running for governor in California. They don't actually have your interests at heart. Okay. They are captured by special interests. So to me, in my opinion, The obvious forward path here is to just not have the liberal candidate.
What would you say to counter his statements? On what? Like, we're so far gone. I mean, the first thing you would say is like to defend that to defend the idea that the obvious answer to there are so many things wrong with this approach, but he's so far down a road of like stupid shit. The first issue that you would fight on would be his analysis of the situation. What is the solution to Israel-Palestine? We have to go to, well, whose fault is Israel-Palestine being so fucked up? That's a complicated conversation right there, right? Because technically Jews did secure a promise from the Brits to have a place for them to, inhabit, and then the Ottomans did lose that war, and when you lose wars, especially as a great empire, sometimes your empire fails, and sometimes we're okay with who takes over fallen empires, like when the Soviets, when Lenin and all them had their big murdering of all the Russian czars or whatever, and then they took over the Russian Empire and they made the fucking, I don't know if it was the Soviet Union immediately or whatever eventually became the Soviet Union. And then other times they're not okay with people taking over and killing everybody and started their own country. I mean, the Jews didn't even really do that in Israel. They didn't kill everybody. So from the very start, like the founding of it is really weird. And then the solution is also really weird because now they don't even want a two-state solution. People like Vaush just want to see every Jew kicked out of Israel. Like that's really what he wants, they might even be open with that now at this point. Like what they want is all the Jews have to leave Israel and go to Europe or to the United States. And then Arabs get to have their 950th state on the planet. And that's it. But it's like, that's so cringe. And I don't know how to how do I seriously engage with that point? Like I guess the questions we were having a debate, but we wouldn't, obviously. None of the Israel-Palestine people will ever have a debate because all of this is dogma to them. They don't actually think about or have arguments or counter-arguments to anything. It's like, okay, well, let's say that we do a one-state solution like you say. We're going to force it on them all. What happens when Jews start getting genocided or mass murdered by the Arab majority government? Like kind of the thing that's happened in almost every single other Arab majority state on the planet or every other country on the planet that has Jews as a minority. Like what would you do to intervene? I've never heard an answer to that question before. The actual answer is probably nothing. They probably wouldn't intervene at all. They'd probably say, well, maybe it's revenge. Maybe they deserve to have a little bit of vengeance wrought upon them. They talk about like pulling all the funding and like that would make things okay. If we stopped funding Israel entirely, and then after that Israel just decides to actually ethnically cleanse every single Palestinian out of Gaza and the West Bank and kicks them all off into Egypt and Jordan, would you want to intervene there? Should we do anything? I mean, some of them, I've never even really heard an answer to that. I don't know. It's so hard to engage at this level of demagoguery because you're so far removed from anything that's happened on the planet. I don't know. How do you even even the FDR Nazi thing? When was FDR president? When was FDR's all of his presidential terms? Like how long was Hitler in power for? Before we finally joined World War II and even went to fuck him up. FDR was in office from 33 to 45. So even this, Vaush talking about how would you feel if we elected FDR again as the president, the liberal president, and then he didn't do something about Nazi Germany? I mean, that was the case for for many years. What do you mean? Whatever. I don't know.
Support the Nazis, and for some reason this is this is a controversial. This isn't like an insane red line or whatever. Israel is causing us to run up against a global oil crisis, fuel shortages, famine, skyrocketing prices everywhere on Earth. All of this because of Israel. All of this because we can't stop them. Do you know what the death toll might end up being just due to fertilizer shortages alone? Do you know what a combined unavailability of fertilizer for an entire 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 harvesting cycles combined with the instability of climate change? Do you know what that might do to the world? Do you know what the death count for that could potentially be? Just a couple of famines in Southeast Asia or Western Africa, and we're talking about a greater death toll than Israel's done in Gaza over years. And why? Why support Israel? They hate us. They're evil. They rape prisoners with dogs. All they want to do is kill and kill and kill and kill and kill. Is it really that crazy for me to think it might be important that we not support them? Trump to Vaush.
Perhaps the strat is to push a solution of your own and have them contend with that. That solution is the two-state solution, but nobody wants that. The Jews don't want that because they feel like they're winning more. The Palestinians don't want that because they are gassed up by the international community. And then retards in the West don't want that because they don't know anything about the conflict. So then I don't even know. We're just talking about fantasy solutions. Nothing is going to get done with Israel-Palestine, right? Nothing is going to happen there that Vaush is talking about. So all of this conversation is just fucking retarded. We might as well be talking about could Yoda and Obi-Wan have negotiated in the what was the name of the Senate or whatever, the Intergalactic Senate, to head off the weird takeover from the Emperor guy, Palpatine. It's just all just like a fantasy. This is all just like fantasy talk. No,
Palpatine wouldn't negotiate it.
Yeah.
Vaush doing the Trump will be better in Israel-Palestine argument that got us here. Oh, yeah, man, dude, that's it. It was pro-Palestinian support that got Trump to win over Kamala Harris, and not Kamala Harris endorsing the Nazi regime to the detriment of her own chances of winning. Give Democrats some fucking agency, dude. It's so embarrassing how Democrats represent this multi-billion-dollar political organization. They have the ears and the mouths of politicians and corporations and consultancies and think tanks, and somehow they're like never responsible for their own obvious massive strategic failures, like the fact that they continue to disingenuously support the far-right ethno-nationalist fucking genocide regime despite the interests of their constituency, despite the interests of the world. They keep doing it. Why? Because, like, I don't know, inertia or something. Give them some agency. Sorry, what was I talking about? Do you hold this position for non-Newsom candidates like Ossoff? I've said this a million times. For me, being a Zionist is a hard line. It is literally the end of the world ideology. It is a death cult. I am not voting for fucking death cultists. The solution here is to run Democrats that are not death cultists. Beta. If J.D. Vance like runs on a campaign of continued opposition to Israeli interests, and the Democrats are like, that's anti-Semitic, J.D. Vance. We should send Israel more rape dogs. Israel demands thousands of rape dogs be shipped over from not but the finest breeders, and we will continue to serve them in their time.
Like, this is the whole reason why they engage in the rhetoric like this is because there's literally nothing to there's no way to counter this. Like, if they're really like the rape dog genociders, then I guess we should just kill them all, right? Like, yeah, I don't know.
I don't think we should do that.
Good job.
Time of need, then yes, I that is a hard line for me. I'm really sorry. How do you know Vance is sincere? They're politicians. I'm not voting on their perceived sincerity. Right now, Vance is threatening Israel and telling them that they have overstepped and they need to get in line with the MOU and withdraw from Lebanon, because if they don't, they risk losing Trump's support. That is more than Democrats have done. Democrats say, oh, red lines on this, don't give them weapons, blah, blah, blah. Some Democrats say they don't want to give them Iron Dome munitions. Some. Very few are willing to go that far. But no Democrats are willing to say what J.D. Vance has been saying, that if everything is Jew hatred, nothing is Jew hatred, that Israel is entitled, that they've overstepped, that they are alone in the world, and the support of the United States is the only reason they're still afloat. These are like radically true. These are completely true positions to hold, but Democrats know that if they said it, they'd get like Mamdani treatment, the mainstream media just nonstop dogging them. So for the most part, we get these mealy-mouthed like, Netanyahu's regime has gone too far. We should withhold weapons until, Israel, da-da-da. No.
I don't know. This is delusional. I don't know what to say. I don't know.
He hates the Jews,
yeah,
man.
Jesus fuck. I don't even know.
What do you want me to say?
Hey, Mark!
All right, guys. We were going to watch that clip, but we're not going to because apparently you guys can't help yourselves but spam the same fucking link 20 times in chat and then think that I'm not seeing it. So now we're not watching it.
So Hasan
derangement
punishing
syndrome.
Yeah, I am.
Is somehow still continuing at a full clip. Over the last couple of weeks, we've had a total meltdown from the Democratic establishment, from conservative media, from pro-Israel organizations over some of the things that Hasan has said in the past and his association with left-wing, pro-Palestine, or Israel-critical candidates for Congress. And so the latest iteration of this, even though I think this has already backfired at this point, is from the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, or as I think they could be more accurately described, the Apartheid Defense League, because their goal is actually not to take on real anti-Semitism, it's to defend the state of Israel and their genocidal war crime spree. And so here they posted, just earlier today, Hasan Piker has a massive platform with over 11.3 million followers, and he's used it to normalize.
This is 2 months old. What do I care about this? I don't. What is this? Mamdani's wife co-host Luke's Muslim retreat. Is that luxury? Does this mean
Lux?
Lux? Does that stand for luxury? Is that what that means? Okay. Muslim retreat, casting Virgin Mary as Palestinian woman under occupation. Okay. Don't care. Weird, but I don't care.
Obama.
11 months ago. Jesus, don't care. Oh, final Hasan Slapper clip. He said this multiple times, but
they have more leverage in comparison to 6 months ago, but they don't have leverage in comparison to 6 months in.
Vaush Rokana vid.
Why
The one
does
that's
he
like
hate
11 months
Ukraine?
old? Why the fuck would I watch this? This is an hour-long video from a year ago. Why does he hate Ukraine? What do you mean? Because they hate all ex-Soviet
Western?
satellites. No, especially ex-Soviet satellites, because these guys always try to sell the myth that the Soviets were like these great people, and the Soviet Union and all these like autonomous states that joined did it because they loved the Soviet Union, and the Soviet Union were commies and they were good, and Stalin was actually base and fighting capitalists and all this. So that's why he fucking hates people like Poland or the Polish or people like the Ukrainians or whatever. Yeah. No, about Rouhani being detained in Israel. Oh, I don't know. Link me that video
Oh
again.
my god.
They have more leverage in comparison to 6 months ago, but they don't have leverage in comparison to 6 months in.
Wait, what? Hold on.
They have more leverage in comparison to 6 months ago, but they don't have leverage in comparison to 6 months in. After the Russian invasion, that's when they had that's when they had far more leverage, and they could have actually nipped this in the bud.
Am I misremembering the whole early part of the war? I thought like 2 to 3 weeks in, people were like, oh shit, maybe Ukraine can resist Russia or whatever. I thought by 6 months, weren't we all just saying, every single person was like, yeah, it's inevitable, they're going to lose. Yeah, they're fucked. Yeah, it's over. Yeah, it's fucked. Like, it's going to take a while. Like, Russia didn't win immediately, but yeah, they're fucked. They're fucked. It's going to be a long grind, but they're fucked. Okay.
Now, that is, of course, if Russia was willing to do that.
Oh,
Okay.
There's two sides to a negotiation. True. Oh, true.
At the time, and perhaps Russia was not willing to do that back then. Who knows? I'm not, clearly I've made wrong predictions on this Russia stuff. I'm simply saying what I say all the time: give peace a try.
Oh my God.
Okay,
Give it a
peace
try.
shot. There's no harm
Surely
in this.
Russia wants peace.
All wars end with treaties. Okay.
What a pointless statement. Like, all humans
They end
die
with
when you
treaties.
don't get enough oxygen to the brain eventually. Like, yeah, like, what?
That's how wars end.
Peas
Do
sword in
it
the
now.
balls.
True.
Do it now when you have more leverage. Okay? This is what I have to say.
Not war, not war, not war. Just peace, just peace, just peace.
Wow, epic.
Give peace a try, capitulate to Russian imperialism. Oh my God.
True.
It's happening again. Oh my God, it's happening again. I'm gonna die. It's happening again. This is literally what this is what the people said during the Turkey summit after Ukraine was able to push back. After Ukraine was able to push back successfully the Russian forces out of their capital. The situation has gotten far worse since then. Please. Yeah, for Russia. What? Worse for Russia? You think the situation right now is worse for Russia than it is for Ukraine? Dog, there's no world where 18% of Ukrainian territory has been taken over and de facto annexed by Russia that is a better position for Ukraine as opposed to Russia. There's no way this guy is Ukrainian, right? There's just no fucking shot that this person is Ukrainian, because now the majority of Ukrainians are in favor of ceding territory
This
in
isn't true,
exchange
by the
for a
way.
permanent cessation of hostilities. There's already
Yeah, I don't know where he gets that from, but okay.
the manpower problem hasn't gone away for Ukraine. Ukraine has actually gotten a little bit of a respite from the manpower problem by fucking utilizing autonomous warfare tools. However, it's not like those issues have gone away. Those issues still very much exist.
Recent polls show most Ukrainians oppose ceding territory to Russia for peace, with 52% categorically rejecting transfer of Donbass for security guarantees and 75% rejecting plans involving territorial concessions without guarantees.
I'm confused, but Hasan just said that they're cool with it.
True. Uh-oh. Hold on. Apparently there's a hot...
Breaking news.
What?
Well, it sounded like you had breaking news.
Oh, no. There's a hot YouTube video on obsession.
Ooh.
The Vaush vid. Uh-oh.
Oh my god, bro.
Warning. By Alex Myers. Obsession is an insane movie. First of all, is this guy anybody on YouTube? Oh, 4.1 million followers. Uh-oh. Let me...
Use the restroom.
Yeah, I'll cue this video up, though. Hold on one sec.
Hello, DGG. Hello, Kick Chat. How about England? It's coming home, isn't it? Woohoo! Yippee! Come on, England, score some fucking goals today. Do I support this? Let me see. Iran planned to assassinate President Trump during his visit to Turkey. No, I do not support political violence, nor does Steve. It's just good business. Cablegate truth or denier? I haven't seen anything about what the fuck this cable thing is. Can someone link a thing or explain? Thoughts on Lindsey Graham dying? Hold on, let me read my tweet to you. I'm just reading a tweet. 1 second. This is what President Trump said. He said, someone just died. Good. I'm glad he's dead. He can no longer hurt innocent people. President DJT. Cablegate. Like, do I need to listen to audio or no? Okay. Oh, wow. That's awesome. And then it turned into a goal? Yeah, no, that was almost certainly cable interference. I'm a Cablegate agreeer. It's actually coming home. The gods wanted him to win. What do you want me to say? God put that fucking cable there. That cable's getting knighted. The sad part is it might. Sensor data. FIFA provides sensor data proving the planes didn't hit anything.
Are you another gravity disbeliever?
I'm a cable truther.
Oh
That's
my God.
for sure.
Another gravity disbeliever. I can't believe that after the ball was going up, it then immediately started going down.
Went
That's just like
down.
crazy.
You're just scared to admit it. You're bought by big FIFA.
Okay.
Boom. Chicka, chicka, chicka. Someone said we're getting the Minecraft server together soon.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know. Why are you so sighy? Today's it's a good fucking day, man.
Tired from my traveling. Oh my God. Why is this computer being weird? Stop.
Buy a new one. It's good business.
Uh-oh. I think if your desktop Thank you, Tabris. I see it. I'm going to read the whole 90 pages of it right now. Thank you for linking it again. Thank you. What if your Explorer crashes? I can just restart it.
Yeah, I usually reset the PC, but yeah.
If my desktop is like crashed on this computer.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're
wait.
cooked.
It came back. Oh my god. King.
Wait, what copyright case? This is the Ethan one already?
No, I was just asking if there was a if any copyright cases get resolved by jury, and he found one, but he's just linking me like 85 pages. I don't know if you think I'm supposed to read it all or right now.
Hello, Rinlox.
Really? Okay. I'm done. Okay. What is this?
Ro Khanna, everyone's favorite, somewhat opportunistic, somewhat progressive representative from the great state of California, got detained the other day in Israel by settlers, not even initially by the IDF. Take it away, Ro. Israeli settlers brandishing American-made M4s detained me and other Americans on my trip to Palestine. When the IDF arrived, they sided with the settlers and continued our detention. They made a huge mistake. You'll be hearing more soon. It's so cool how we are so cucked to Israel that they can cause international incidents, not even directly through like the will of their government, but like their marauding like brown shirt Hitler squads can detain a rep and and it doesn't even matter. Just literally just like random 16-year-old neo-Nazis living in the West Bank or whatever. Jesus.
I saw the arrogance in the eyes of those settlers, 21 and 22-year-olds with guns, laughing that they had detained us. The arrogance of those young IDF soldiers that my text.
Yeah, let's get the full bit. Ro Khanna is very media accessible. I know he's going to be talking about this for a while.
Being in the West Bank and in Israel is the first time that I have really been acutely aware of being brown. I feel like people have seen.
Oh my god.
What?
Jesus Christ.
What? Hold on.
That's a dono sound.
No, I misheard this. I'm so sorry. Hold on. Just.
Going to be talking about this for a while.
Being.
I'm about to load up Rebirth, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know if I can handle this.
In the West Bank and in Israel is the first time that I have really been acutely aware of being brown. I feel like people have seen me first as brown, second as an American congressman, and third as an American citizen. I saw the arrogance in the eyes of those settlers, 21 and 22-year-olds with guns, laughing that they had detained us. The arrogance of those young IDF soldiers that my tax dollars are funding, having no respect for the fact that they were detaining Americans, no respect that there was an American congressperson in that bus, and laughing. When
any other time, it would be an international incident. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable that like an internationally condemned group of neo-Nazis that are in violation of international law and American law can just detain a representative. The military shows up and sides with the settlers, and nothing happens. Nothing will happen.
What does he mean when he says sides with the settlers? My guess is settlers saw him, and they were like, who are you? And then they pull him over and they ask him questions, which is kind of crazy. I know, because the exact same thing happened to us, by the way. Not that anybody cares. And then the IDF will show up and then probably tell you to fuck off. What does he mean by sides with the settlers, though? What
happened to Ro Khanna shows more than anything how untouchable Israel's fascist regime think it is. Yeah, they've drank their own Kool-Aid. I can't wait for him to go on CNN and Dana Bash ask him if he feels he was like anti-Semitic to the settlers or whatever else. Like I'll just say it. If the settlers had killed him, most American politicians wouldn't say anything about it. The most they would say is that they find it troubling and they wanted.
What? You need to explain the Ro Khanna Brown thing for normies? I don't know. People in Israel, a lot of them look like Middle Eastern. I don't think it's like a brown race thing. I don't understand what the fuck like the brown thing literally just like, it's a super cringe. It seems like he just doesn't know anything about Israel or the Middle East. I just have no idea. That's just like the weirdest fucking thing. Like, there's an argument.
So it's not like racism solved in America.
Well, but also there's like a colorist argument you can make. Like, if I had to guess, Ro Khanna is probably darker skinned than most of the Arabs in like Israel and Palestine or whatever. So you think he's lying? He either just hasn't experienced racism in the U.S. or I just don't. I don't even know. I don't know. That's like an inexplicable. That's just like that's like the most out of left field statement I've ever heard in my entire life. Like, does he think that like were me and Lonerbox, were we pulled over because we looked brown or what?
If the settlers had killed him, most American politicians wouldn't say anything about it. The most they would say is that they find it troubling and they want an investigation, but nothing would happen. If the settlers had killed him on camera, they would. I guarantee you, most wouldn't speak up.
Jesus.
Yeah, they talk about Netanyahu.
Translator told them that there are Americans there and the American embassy is concerned. It is the arrogance of a power that has had no accountability, total impunity, and has created a toxic culture of oppression.
Yeah, man, they're like brown shirts.
I've been to Israel before. We've met with Israeli officials. We've gone to Ramallah, met with the President Abbas, but I've never really gotten to meet Palestinians and seen the occupation from the eyes of Palestinians. And it was important to me to have an...
It feels like a presidential run signifier for me. I've said before, but if Ro Khanna runs, I would definitely support him.
That's going to be a bad clip for him.
Where are you going?
In a presidential run.
I want to run for president. Where are you going? I'm going to go to Iowa and start talking because that's where the primaries are. I'm going to go to the Rust Belt and start talking because that's where the swing states are. Me, I'm going to go to Israel. I'm going to like, bro. Oh my God, dude. They're obsessed. This is like unhealthy. How do the fans not see like how unhealthy the obsession is with this place?
Not even because I think he's that sincere of a person or even that progressive, but because he seems to be one of the only people in the Democratic Party who believes in politics and understands that it's important to oppose like Zionism and pedophilia, but I repeat myself.
Curated, extensive look at the human toll of occupation. I'm certainly probably the first American politician who's been detained by the IDF and Israeli settlers. I mean, we were at a village that Israeli settlers had destroyed. They had destroyed the school. They had destroyed that village, and we were just looking at it. And these hoodlums come in with machine guns, an M4, an American-made machine gun, and they detain us. They block off the road. And then they call the IDF, and the IDF is on their side, not on the side of the Americans.
The Israeli military said troops and police officers intervened after receiving a report of settlers blocking vehicles near Kibbutz Zanuda. Upon their arrival, the troops dispersed the Israeli civilians and allowed their vehicles to continue on their way, said the Israeli military. I believe them. Israeli police did not respond to a request for comment, nor did the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem. That's so fucking crazy, dude.
I don't know what he means when he said sided with the settlers. Like, did they kill Ro Khanna? I don't know what that means. I don't know.
Dude, not even the U.S. Embassy. We are so deferential to Israel that even the U.S. Embassy has nothing to say about the illegal armed detainment of a representative legally traveling.
Is it really an illegal armed detainment? I don't even know what the laws are for there, but I mean, like, whatever.
Fucking psychotic, dude. Huckabee's like just screening the phone call.
And what people in America are asking is, are you so bought and sold by the establishment and political donors that you cannot see human injustice? So if you're unwilling to speak up for Palestinian human rights, if you're unwilling to speak up against the genocide in Gaza, the apartheid in the West Bank...
It's a perfect representation of how, like, being anti-Zionist doesn't really have, necessarily at least, that much to do with Palestinians. Like, there is clearly something wrong if a U.S. rep can get detained by brown shirts and then by the military for no reason, and then there's not an international incident over it. The deference here is coming from inside the house. You don't...
What was the detainment by the IDF? It sounds like I think that settlers will literally detain anybody because they're fucking unhinged and crazy if they think that you don't belong there, and then eventually the IDF will be called, and then the IDF will show up and then probably tell everybody to fuck off and scatter. That's what it sounds like. My guess is that's what happened. I don't know what he means when he says the IDF continued the detainment. The settlers probably said some retarded shit. IDF probably looked into it and they were like, this is retarded. Like, you guys could leave. That's my guess.
Have to be pro-Palestinian to be anti-Zionist. In fact, at this point, I would say it's almost a secondary cause, because Zionism is the chosen identity of a problem that is causing death well outside the boundaries of Palestine as well. Like, we're talking about such a larger problem here, you know? It's crazy. The idea that this is about Palestinians specifically, as opposed to a broader, like, systematic invocation of violence that absolutely directly affects the Palestinians, but, you know, ropes us all in.
Then you are morally compromised. And we cannot trust you to fight for Medicare for all, or to fight for workers over the billionaires, or to fight for justice and human rights in the United States. I'm strongly considering it, and I'm more resolved to consider it after this trip. We need a new moral direction in our party, a new moral vision that respects the dignity and human rights of people around the world.
Is it, in response to what? What was the question? Yep.
We've been doing for 10 years.
What does your husband do?
He works in our community center.
Sort of a random cut of shots together in this DRM video. I wonder if the major national news circuits are going to have Ro Khanna on to talk about this, or if they would prefer to ignore it. The New York Times put out an article. The Israeli settlers had guns, and Representative Ro Khanna was scared. On Wednesday afternoon, Mr. Khanna, the congressman from Silicon Valley, who's exploring a 2028 presidential run, okay, just being direct with it, was visiting the ruins of Kibbutz Zenuda, a tiny Palestinian Bedouin village in the southern West Bank that was abandoned after escalating attacks from settlers and then demolished. Suddenly, a car of men holding guns pulled up and blocked the narrow road out of the village. The men began taunting the congressman and his team, swearing at them in Hebrew and Arabic. Oh, you know what they were saying about Ro Khanna. Kicking the tires of their minibus, according to accounts, photographs, and video footage from Mr. Khanna, an aide, and his security guard. The photographer for the New York Times traveling in a different vehicle also saw the interaction. Soon, a jeep with more men arrived. When two cars from the Israeli military pulled up, Mr. Khanna assumed the soldiers were there to help him pass. Instead, the soldiers smoked cigarettes, chatted with the men, and after the settlers left, moved a car to block the road, he recounted. I felt I felt powerless in that situation, which is not an easy thing, as I have a lot of privilege in life, said Mr. Khanna, who was eventually allowed to continue his journey after calls to the U.S. Embassy and Israeli police. Imagine how people feel every day, Palestinians under the occupation, if they can make an American congressperson feel powerless for 90 minutes. Yup. I know you'd support Ro Khanna, but do you think he has good odds? Yes, I think Ro Khanna would win in 2028.
Oh my God.
Why would that be sarcasm? Why doesn't he have a private security firm following him? He did, didn't you hear? He had security with him. I thought we were voting for Vance. No, that's if Gavin Newsom or Kamala Harris is the candidate. Do you think this incident might actually radicalize him somewhat? I don't think Ro Khanna is stupid. I think Ro Khanna is aware of the fact that Israel's always been this bad. You just have to lead the voters along the path that you're following. What he saw in the West Bank, Mr. Khanna said, convinced him the region's problems won't be solved just by replacing the Israeli leadership. One of the things that's made me realize is how hard a two-state solution is going to be in practice. It's going to require the removal of a lot of violent settlers. Mwah, love that. Yeah, we really need to give up on the two-state solution line, because like any second Palestinian state would just get destroyed by Israel immediately. We've tried this and it failed. That you need to like disempower the Nazi government.
We've tried this and it failed. When?
There's no way around this, you know. I appreciate the fact that Ro Khanna is just flatly saying like these people are fucking insane and they are an obstacle to any kind of solution in the region. In the southern West Bank village of Al-Khair, he met with the family of Auda Hathaline, a well-known Palestinian activist whose work was featured in the Oscar-winning documentary No Other Land and who was killed by an Israeli settler. On his final day, he visited a school where a 14-year-old was gunned down in broad daylight by a settler.
Where was it that he was trying to go that he got blocked off from? Because they said it was a blown-up village. This wasn't like a roped-off area or whatever where people weren't allowed to travel, was it?
I met with Palestinian Americans who described stories of being beaten and threatened. Can a one-state solution actually work? Israel is a Nazi state. Israel has to be like crushed. What were you meant to say if like some?
There's constant comparison to the Nazis as pure anti-Semitism, right? It's insane. Yeah, I don't know if retards like Vaush understand it or not, or if they just pick up on it. But yeah, the whole goal of comparing it constantly to the Nazi shit is the chain of causal shit is so annoying here. But basically, lefties believe that all enemies to America are basically good. Arabs, Muslims, and especially Palestinians are obviously oppositional to Israel, which is friendly to the United States. So then they look to ways to disempower like the Israeli narratives or any Jewish narrative. So obviously Jews, some of them in a cringe manner for sure, over-index on like the whole, oh, we got Holocausted, like boohoo, half our population was destroyed and nobody around the world gave a fuck, which is true. That is absolutely true. Okay, so for all of his sucking off FDR and for sucking off everybody else, like the United States and every other country, when Jews were trying to flee the Holocaust, were basically like, get bent, get fucked. Okay. But so the thing is like, okay, well, you guys cry about the Holocaust all the time. You're actually Holocausting. What about you? You think you're bad? You think the Nazis were bad, but you guys are the Nazis. This constant obsessive attempt to label every single thing that Israel does as being like a Nazi thing or whatever. I mean, I would say if we weren't in some cringe political landscape where you had tipped everything, it is anti-Semitic. The goal is to just say that like, okay, well, you guys were mad that the Nazis were the number one problem in your life. Well, now you guys are the Nazis, and every single thing you do is going to be compared to the Nazis. I'm going to call you guys the Nazis, and I'm going to call every part of you Nazi-like. You're the brown shirts and everything else. That is the goal, is to take away the Holocaust narrative from the Jews and then give it to the Palestinians, basically. But I don't even know if Vaush is aware of this, or I don't know who's aware of anything though. Nope. Like, I'm trying to think of. There's got to be some fictional like besides the Wizard of Oz, where people talk about like some legendary crazy thing, and then finally the adventurers like make it to that land or they make it to that person, and it was like completely overblown. It's just like none of it was true at all. And you're like, wait, what? This is fuck. There's a thing I have on the tip of my brain. What am I thinking of? Somebody was told about like a promised land or something, some people, and then they finally make it there, and they're like, none of it's real. None of it was. The Bible.
Biden?
Game of Thrones season 8.
I love you, Corn Pop.
I don't know. Fuck. I'll think of it someday.
Somebody back in 1941 was like, do you think the Third Reich has a right to survive? I don't know, man. Germany's around today. It had to be broken before it could be allowed to continue to exist, but like it still exists. Israel or Palestine or whatever is probably going to continue to exist. There will remain, you know, like millions of Jews there, which is fine. I don't have a problem with Jews being there. It's like everyone's holy land, I guess, except for the Hindus or whatever. I guess they have a different holy land. They're all about elephants or something. I don't know what they're up to. But like the state of Israel as it exists, it would be like asking if the Third Reich has a right to exist. You know, whatever version of Israel or Palestine or whatever exists into the future cannot be one that is like in any way, shape, or form politically modeled off the existing Israeli state.
As in, what? It can't be majority Jews? Did that happen? I'm trying to remember after World War II, when the German state that emerged after World War II that wasn't Nazi Germany. What was the majority population group there? Was it Germans? Like.
So the UN needs to occupy. I mean, that's what I've said. I've said, like, yeah, the only like chance for peace in the Middle East at this point essentially kind of feels like a multinational or UN-led military occupation of Israel. While like basically the IDF is gutted, a bunch of people are sentenced for crimes against humanity, and you have to like just like tear it apart. Basically, you have to really tear it apart. The thing is, like, South Africa fell in line eventually because at the end of the day, South Africa has an overwhelmingly like an overwhelming majority of black Africans, you know? Same thing happened with Rhodesia. What would have happened if, you know, white, like the Boers or whatever, they had been 50% of the population in South Africa? What if they were 70% and they kept war?
Then why are you comparing it to Germany then? Why? I don't understand I don't understand why he's comparing it to Germany then if he's gonna look to South Africa next for like that completely destroy whatever.
Or with their local, like, you know, countries or whatever. It doesn't seem like Israel's going to stop on its own.
I'll ask once more, not trying to spam, but who liberated the Jews if nobody gave a fuck about the Holocaust at Destiny? I don't get this claim. I mean, I don't remember if this, I think the Soviets did for some camps, right? And then the Western forces did for other camps, but it was after we won, like, fighting in World War II against Germany, right? We went to actual physical war because of Pearl Harbor. Before that, we'd kind of like staked that aside and we were embargoing Japanese oil and everything. But we didn't go to war because of the camps. We didn't go to war because of the Holocaust. And every single country, I think, on the planet was basically shutting down Jews going to their country during the camps. The United States wouldn't accept Jews. At least one boat got famously turned back. The Brits said that no more Jews were allowed to go to the Middle East, to the Levant, to the mandatory Palestine area from the 40s and onwards when they were all getting Holocausted. The Jews were just kind of getting fucked. We're just kind of getting fucked in all the camps. And then finally they were set free, but it was after because we were winning the war against Germany, not because we went to Germany to save the Jews. I think people forget this, but like kind of everybody hated Jews. And I guess still kind of
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think Churchill himself wasn't he, didn't he say anti-Semitic? Wasn't he anti-Semite? I feel like everybody was. Like even Herzl when he made his argument about like why the Jews should go to Israel, like he was saying like this will be good for everybody. Like we all know that everybody hates Jews anyway, so we'll all be benefiting from this. I bet the full text of that book is online. Was it called A Jewish Nation? What's the Herzl book?
Hating Jews is just good business.
True. Oh, the Jewish state.
Happy birthday, Mr. Gemzar.
Mr. Gemzar, happy birthday. Fuck, I don't remember the specific words. The departure of the Jews will involve no economic disturbances, no crises, no persecutions. In fact, the countries they abandon will revive to a new period of prosperity. There will be an inner migration of Christian citizens into the positions evacuated by Jews. The outgoing current will be gradual, without any disturbance, and its initial movement will put an end to anti-Semitism. The Jews will leave as honored friends, and if some of them return, they will receive the same favorable welcome and treatment at the hands of civilized nations, blah, blah, blah.
They're honored friends.
Well, because the idea was like, these guys will be so happy to see us fucking leave, and then we'll give like half our shit to them as we leave the countries anyways. Like everybody will be like, they want us to leave. They fucking hate us anyways. It was one of the arguments that he made for why they should all fucking peace out. I don't remember there were more specific lines in here for it, but whatever. Anyway, everybody hated Jews. What are you going to do?
Rhodesia have an air force? Probably.
Tale as old
Probably
as
had pilots
time.
who were wearing those gay little shorts, you know? Mr. Khanna described the visit as an uncurated Palestinian-led glimpse into the West Bank and is one he believes more members of Congress and potential presidential candidates should experience. It's crazy. It's insane how fucking arrogant Israel has gotten. Israel is on a path to its own destruction.
Maybe this is outdated, but it says, despite the village being declared a closed military zone where Israeli citizens may not enter, so that it might explain why the IDF wouldn't let them through. Oh, is this the place, maybe? This was in March of 2025. That's like a year and a half ago, though. Yeah, I don't know.
In large part because they have failed to manage the PR environment. Like Israel has gotten so high in its own supply that they've forgotten how tenuous their situation is, and they have stopped. Even as the world has
Israel has managed its own PR well? Really? Okay, buddy.
bowed down to them. Even as Western Europe and America give them money and weapons and like completely unquestioned political support, still they squander it. They squander it. They waste it. Just the arrogance here. You know how much this is going to play into Ro Khanna's campaign? If Ro Khanna does run for president, this story is going to come up.
Oh my God.
Look at this. He left with some parting words for the Israeli government. Free advice to the Israelis. It's not a good idea to detain long shot presidential candidates. Not how you're going to build goodwill with the next American president, whoever that is. They're going to kill him. That's horrible. That's a solid parting shot right there for sure.
Just like they got Charlie. Just like they got Lindsey Graham and McConnell and
Jesus.
Trudeau.
100%. They are squonking it. Be careful who you make fun of in middle school.
Congressman
Oh,
Vaush and Hasan
JFK,
visited
true.
Tunis in the occupied West Bank, a village with thousands of Palestinian Americans who have come under repeated attacks by Jewish settlers.
Palestinian Americans?
What? Thousands of Palestinian Americans? Wait, what? Is that true?
School.
Congressman Ro Khanna visited Turmus Aya in the occupied West Bank, a village with thousands of Palestinian Americans who have come under repeated attacks by Jewish settlers.
Palestinian Americans? Yes, is that true? Like a bunch of Americans who are Palestinian have moved over here? Like thousands? Thousands of people chose to do that? Okay, good. All right.
Khanna says he became a target as well, detained by settlers and the Israeli military for more than an hour, according to Reuters.
I'm certainly probably the first American politician who's been detained by the IDF and Israeli settlers. I mean, we were at a village that Israeli settlers had destroyed. They had destroyed the school. They had destroyed that village, and we were just looking at it. And these hoodlums come in with machine guns, an M4, an American-made machine gun, and they detain us. They block off the road. And then they call the IDF, and the IDF is on their side, not on the side of the Americans.
Khanna is on a 3-day trip.
I don't know what he means when he keeps saying that they were on their side. It sounds like the settlers were told to leave and then they continued. I don't understand what he means when they say they like because they didn't arrest the settlers or what.
To the West Bank as he weighs a potential presidential run in 2028. Support for Israel in the U.S. has fallen significantly, especially among Democrats, where a progressive young wing of the party has been highly critical of Israel.
I saw the
No, older Democrats are also critical of Israel. It's like across the board. Like every subcategory within the Democratic Party is critical of Israel. Mamdani has more support from Jewish New Yorkers than Netanyahu does.
arrogance in the eyes of those settlers.
What comparison is that? Okay.
21 and 22-year-olds with guns, laughing